La dejamos atrás, murmuró el sargento Davies por radio, mientras el helicóptero de extracción se alejaba de la zona de combate. No podemos arriesgar toda la unidad por una sola soldado. La Cabo Sofía Ramírez yacía inmóvil detrás de unos escombros, con una bala enemiga alojada en su pierna izquierda, observando cómo su propio equipo la abandonaba en territorio controlado por insurgentes. 20 minutos antes había sido solo otra mexicana más en el equipo de reconocimiento. Ahora era una francotiradora entrenada en Fort Bragg, sola contra 50 enemigos, con munición limitada y ninguna ruta de escape. «Está bien, cabrones», susurró en español, ajustando su rifle de precisión M24. Mi abuelo me enseñó que una Ramírez nunca se rinde. Lo que los insurgentes no sabían era que Sofía había crecido cazando en las montañas de Chihuahua antes de alistarse en las fuerzas especiales del ejército. Lo que su propio equipo no sabía era que ella había completado entrenamiento clasificado en eliminación selectiva de objetivos. Y lo que nadie esperaba era que los próximos 30 minutos se convertirían en una demostración letal de por qué nunca debes subestimar a una francotiradora mexicana-americana con algo que demostrar. Lo que pasó después cambiaría para siempre las reglas de engagement en territorio hostil. Si quieres descubrir cómo una soldado abandonada se convierte en la pesadilla más letal que estos insurgentes jamás enfrentaron, asegúrate de suscribirte a Historias Militares de Élite, porque lo que Sofía está a punto de hacer redefinirá lo que significa supervivencia en combate. Déjanos saber desde dónde nos sigues. Porque su primera eliminación sería solo el comienzo de una cacería que los insurgentes recordarían por el resto de sus muy cortas vidas. Sofía Ramírez se presionó contra los escombros de hormigón, sintiendo cómo la sangre de su herida de bala se filtraba a través del vendaje improvisado que había hecho con parte de su uniforme. El dolor punzante en su pierna izquierda era constante, pero su mente estaba completamente enfocada en las voces árabes que se acercaban desde 3 direcciones diferentes. «¿Dónde está la mujer soldado?», gritó una voz en árabe, que Sofía entendía perfectamente gracias a su entrenamiento en idiomas militares. «El helicóptero se fue sin ella. Debe estar herida». Sofía contó al menos 8 voces distintas en el grupo de búsqueda principal. Otros grupos más pequeños se movían por los flancos, probablemente 4 hombres cada uno. Su entrenamiento táctico le permitió crear un mapa mental del área. Ella estaba en el centro de un círculo que se estrechaba rápidamente. A través de la mira de su rifle M24, estudió el terreno circundante. El complejo abandonado donde habían estado realizando reconocimiento ofrecía múltiples posiciones de cobertura, pero también múltiples ángulos de ataque enemigo. Su munición, 37 balas de precisión. Sus enemigos, aproximadamente 50 insurgentes bien armados que conocían el terreno mejor que ella. «En las montañas de Chihuahua, mija, mi padre me enseñó que un cazador paciente siempre supera a una manada impaciente», recordó las palabras de su abuelo, un veterano de la Revolución Mexicana, quien le había enseñado los fundamentos del tiro de precisión cuando era apenas una adolescente. El primer grupo enemigo apareció en su línea de visión. 4 insurgentes moviéndose cautelosamente entre las ruinas, sus AK-47 listos para disparar. El líder del grupo llevaba radio y parecía estar coordinando el movimiento de otros equipos. Sofía calculó distancia, viento y elevación. 200 metros, viento cruzado mínimo. Objetivo estático durante comunicación por radio. Respiró profundamente. Encontró el punto de pausa natural en su respiración y presionó el gatillo suavemente. El rugido del M24 resonó a través del complejo. El líder insurgente se desplomó instantáneamente, su radio cayendo entre los escombros. Inmediatamente, gritos de alarma llenaron el aire. Los 3 insurgentes restantes se dispersaron hacia cobertura, pero Sofía ya había identificado su próximo objetivo, un francotirador enemigo que se posicionaba en un edificio parcialmente destruido a 300 metros. Segundo disparo. El francotirador enemigo cayó de su posición elevada. «Está en el sector norte», gritó un insurgente en árabe. «2 de los nuestros están muertos». Pero Sofía ya se había movido. Usando técnica de desplazamiento que había aprendido en entrenamiento avanzado, se deslizó silenciosamente hacia nueva posición, arrastrando su pierna herida pero manteniendo velocidad táctica efectiva. Desde su nueva ubicación, podía ver un grupo de 6 insurgentes avanzando directamente hacia su posición anterior. Estaban agrupados demasiado cerca. Error táctico fatal que Sofía no desperdiciaría. Tercer disparo. Eliminó al insurgente con lanzagranadas RPG. Cuarto disparo. Derribó al insurgente que parecía ser subcomandante del grupo. Los 4 insurgentes restantes entraron en pánico, dispersándose hacia cobertura inadecuada. Sofía aprovechó su desorganización. Quinto disparo. Sexto disparo. En menos de 4 minutos, había eliminado 6 insurgentes y completamente desorganizado sus patrones de búsqueda coordinada. ¡Es una francotiradora fantasma!, gritó una voz aterrorizada en árabe. ¡Nos está cazando uno por uno! Sofía cambió de posición nuevamente, ignorando el dolor intensificado en su pierna. Había usado 6 balas y eliminado 6 objetivos. 31 balas restantes. Aproximadamente 44 enemigos restantes. Las matemáticas eran claras. Necesitaba precisión perfecta y táctica superior para sobrevivir. Pero mientras ajustaba su mira hacia el siguiente grupo de insurgentes que se acercaba, Sofía sonrió grimly. Estos hombres habían cometido un error fatal. Habían subestimado lo que una mujer mexicana-americana entrenada en Fort Bragg podía hacer cuando la dejaban sola con tiempo suficiente para demostrar por qué había ganado cada competencia de tiro de precisión en su unidad. La caza apenas comenzaba. Sofía había cambiado de posición 3 veces en los últimos 15 minutos, manteniéndose siempre un paso adelante de los grupos de búsqueda insurgentes, que ahora operaban con considerablemente menos coordinación. El pánico había comenzado a infiltrarse en sus comunicaciones radiales, que ella interceptaba usando su radio militar ajustado a frecuencias enemigas. «Hemos perdido 8 hombres», crepitó una voz desesperada en árabe a través del radio capturado. «Necesitamos refuerzos del campamento principal». Sofía tomó nota mental. Refuerzos venían en camino, lo que significaba que su ventana de oportunidad para escapar se estaba cerrando rápidamente. Pero también significaba que tenía oportunidad de infligir daño máximo antes de que las probabilidades se volvieran completamente imposibles. Desde su nueva posición en el segundo piso de un edificio parcialmente colapsado, tenía vista clara de un grupo de 10 insurgentes que se habían agrupado cerca de un vehículo blindado improvisado. Estaban discutiendo estrategia, aparentemente creyendo que su número les proporcionaba seguridad. «Amateur mistake», murmuró Sofía en inglés, ajustando su mira para compensar la distancia de 400 metros y viento cruzado ligero. Su séptimo disparo eliminó al insurgente que estaba señalando direcciones en un mapa, claramente el coordinador táctico del grupo. Octavo disparo. Derribó al insurgente con ametralladora PKM, eliminando su capacidad de fuego pesado. El resto del grupo se dispersó inmediatamente, pero 3 de ellos corrieron hacia cobertura inadecuada detrás de escombros bajos. Noveno, 10º y 11º disparos fueron ejecutados en secuencia rápida. «¡11 muertos!», gritó una voz llena de terror a través del radio. «Está en todas partes». Pero Sofía sabía que no podía mantener esa posición por mucho tiempo. Los insurgentes restantes habían comenzado a triangular su ubicación basándose en los disparos y pronto convergerían en su posición actual. Mientras se preparaba para otro movimiento táctico, escuchó algo que hizo que su sangre se enfriara, el sonido distinto de rotores de helicóptero acercándose. A través de sus binoculares, identificó un helicóptero de combate insurgente aproximándose desde el este. No era equipo militar estándar, probablemente capturado o comprado en mercado negro, pero llevaba armamento suficiente para convertir su posición en escombros. «Perfecto», murmuró sarcásticamente, como si 40 insurgentes terrestres no fueran suficiente desafío. Pero entonces una idea comenzó a formarse en su mente táctica. El helicóptero representaba amenaza, pero también oportunidad. Si pudiera eliminarlo, no solo removería ventaja aérea enemiga, sino que también crearía distracción suficiente para facilitar su escape. El problema: derribar helicóptero con rifle de francotirador requería precisión extraordinaria y timing perfecto. Necesitaría impactar punto vital específico, motor, rotor principal o pilot, desde distancia considerable mientras el objetivo se movía. Sofía había practicado disparos antihelicóptero durante entrenamiento avanzado, pero nunca en combate real. Abuelo siempre decía que imposibilidad es solo word que usan personas que se rinden demasiado rápido. Se recordó a sí misma en español. El helicóptero se estabilizó a aproximadamente 600 metros de su posición, obviamente buscando su ubicación. El piloto mantenía patrón de vuelo predecible. Otro error táctico que Sofía podía explotar. Calculó elevación, compensación por movimiento del objetivo y factores atmosféricas. Su bala tendría que viajar 600 metros e impactar área específica de aproximadamente 10 centímetros cuadrados para ser efectiva. Un disparo, una oportunidad. Sofía respiró profundamente, encontró su punto de pausa natural, siguió el patrón de vuelo del helicóptero a través de su mira y presionó el gatillo con precisión que había perfeccionado durante años de entrenamiento. El 12º disparo cortó a través del aire del desierto. ¿Alguna vez has tenido que tomar una decisión imposible cuando las probabilidades estaban completamente en tu contra? Déjanos saber en los comentarios qué habrías hecho en la situación de Sofía. El rugido del rifle M24 fue seguido por segundos que se sintieron como eternidad. Sofía mantuvo sus ojos fijos en el helicóptero a través de la mira, observando la trayectoria de su bala, mientras cortaba a través del aire del desierto hacia su objetivo móvil. El impacto fue exacto. La bala penetró la cabina del piloto con precisión letal, y inmediatamente el helicóptero comenzó a girar fuera de control. Los rotores principales lucharon contra la pérdida de dirección, creando un sonido ensordecedor que reverberó a través todo el complejo abandonado. ¡Increíble!, exclamó Sofía, observando cómo el helicóptero se estrellaba contra el suelo aproximadamente 400 metros de su posición, exploding en una bola de fuego masiva que envió columnas de humo negro hacia el cielo. Los gritos de los insurgentes restantes llenaron el aire, sus voces mezclándose con el sonido crepitante de las llamas. A través de su radio intercetado, Sofía escuchó caos absoluto. El helicóptero está destruido. ¡Es imposible! Una sola persona no puede hacer esto. ¡Retírense! ¡Retírense! ¡Esto es una trampa! Pero Sofía sabía que no podía celebrar todavía. El crash del helicóptero había creado distracción perfecta, pero también había revelado aproximadamente su posición general. Los insurgentes restantes, estimaba que quedaban unos 35, pronto reorganizarían y convergerían en su área. Era tiempo de moverse hacia su objetivo final: escape. Sofía había estado estudiando el terreno durante toda la batalla, identificando ruta de extracción hacia zona de aterrizaje secundaria, aproximadamente 2 kilómetros al norte. Si podía llegar allí, tenía radio militar para solicitar extracción de emergencia. Pero 2 kilómetros con pierna herida, a través de territorio hostil, perseguida por insurgentes enojados, no sería caminata fácil. Comenzó su movimiento hacia el norte, usando técnica de salto de cobertura. Avanzar rápidamente entre posiciones defensivas, nunca permanecer expuesta más de 10 segundos, siempre mantener ruta de escape disponible. Después de avanzar 300 metros, identificó grupo de 6 insurgentes moviéndose paralela a su ruta. Estaban positioned entre ella y su objetivo de escape. Tendrían que ser eliminados. Desde posición de tiro estabilizada detrás de muro de hormigón parcialmente destroyed, Sofía evaluó distancias y ángulos. Los 6 insurgentes estaban agrupados demasiado cerca, moviéndose en formación que violaba principios básicos de seguridad táctica. 13º disparo eliminó al líder del grupo. 14º y 15º disparos derribaron 2 insurgentes que intentaron flanquear hacia cobertura. Los 3 restantes entraron en pánico, corriendo directamente hacia posiciones expuestas. 16º, 17º y 18º disparos completaron la eliminación del grupo. 18 bajas confirmadas, murmuró Sofía, registrando mentalmente su cuenta. 19 balas restantes en su rifle, aproximadamente 29 insurgentes enemigos restantes y 1.700 metros hasta zona de extracción. Pero mientras se preparaba para continuar avanzando, escuchó sonidos que la llenaron de alarma, vehículos aproximándose desde múltiples direcciones y voces que indicaban llegada de refuerzos insurgentes desde campamento principal. «Han llegado refuerzos del campamento base», transmitió una voz excitada a través del radio interceptado. 50 hombres adicionales. Las matemáticas acababan de cambiar dramáticamente. Ya no enfrentaba 30 insurgentes con 19 balas. Ahora enfrentaba aproximadamente 80 insurgentes con la misma munición limitada. Sofía respiró profundamente, ajustando su mira una vez más. La situación se había vuelto exponencialmente más difícil, pero no imposible. Su entrenamiento en Fort Bragg había incluido escenarios de supervivencia where soldados individuales debían evadir fuerzas superiores utilizando tactically superior movement y marksmanship precision. «Muy bien, cabrones», susurró, comenzando a avanzar hacia su próxima posición de tiro. «Vamos a ver si 80 de ustedes son suficientes». La verdadera prueba de supervivencia apenas comenzaba. Los refuerzos insurgentes habían transformado completamente la dinámica del campo de batalla. Sofía observó desde su nueva posición elevada cómo 3 vehículos blindados ligeros descargaban aproximadamente 50 combatientes adicionales, todos equipados con armamento automático y coordinando sus movimientos con disciplina que no había visto en los insurgentes originales. «Estos no son los mismos amateur fighters», murmuró Sofía, estudiando sus formaciones a través de binoculares. «Esto es personal entrenado». A través del radio interceptado, confirmó sus sospechas. «Unidad de élite ha llegado», transmitió una voz con autoridad militar clara. «Operación de búsqueda y destrucción. Divídanse en equipos de 10. Cubran todos los sectores. Esta francotiradora no puede escapar». Sofía realizó calculation rápida. 80 insurgentes total, organizados en 8 equipos de 10, cada equipo con líder experimentado y armamento pesado. Su munición, 19 balas de precisión restantes. La matemática era brutal, pero no imposible si aplicaba táctica perfecta. Su ventaja principal continuaba siendo knowledge superior del terreno que había desarrollado durante las últimas 2 horas de combate, plus habilidad de movimiento stealth, que sus perseguidores no anticipaban de francotirador herido. El primer equipo de refuerzos se acercaba a su posición anterior. 10 hombres en formación táctica apropiada, avanzando con disciplina militar genuine. Su líder llevaba radio de largo alcance y parecía estar coordinando movimiento de múltiples teams simultáneamente. Sofía identificó oportunidad crítica. Eliminando Communication Coordinator, podría interrumpir coordinación entre teams y crear confusión táctica suficiente para facilitar escape. Distancia: 500 metros. Objetivo móvil, pero con patrón predictable. Condiciones de viento: estable. 19º disparo impactó el coordinador de comunicaciones exactamente en el momento que levantaba radio para transmitir próxima instrucción. El efecto fue inmediato. Los 9 insurgentes restantes en ese team comenzaron operando independent, perdiendo coordinación con otros groups. Pero Sofía no podía permanecer en esa posición. Otros teams habían triangulated location de su shot y estaban converging rápidamente. Moviéndose hacia next covered position, escuchó algo que aceleró su corazón. Sonido distintivo de morteros being prepared. «¡Preparen morteros!», gritó una voz a través del radio. «Coordinates del último disparo. Vamos a bombardear toda esa área». Sofía tenía aproximadamente 3 minutos antes de que mortars comenzaran falling en su área general. Necesitaba crear maximum distancia posible entre su location actual y impact zone de mortars. Ignorando pain in her wounded leg, comenzó sprinting toward north, usando every piece de available cover. Behind her, escuchó first mortar round launching. El explosion ocurrió exactamente donde había estado positioned 3 minutos antes. Close call, breathing heavily mientras continued advancing. But mortar attack había created something useful. smoke y debris cloud que partially concealed her movement from visual observation. Aprovechando temporary concealment, advanced additional 500 meters toward extraction zone. Only 1,000 meters remaining, pero también 7 insurgent teams still hunting her, mas whatever mortar support estaba available. From new position, identified 2 insurgent teams que habían positioned themselves directly between her y extraction point. Eliminating them era essential, but eso meant using more precious ammunition. El team más cercano consisted de 10 insurgents positioned around abandoned military vehicle. They parecían estar setting up machine gun emplacement. Definitely needed to ser eliminado immediately. 20º disparo eliminated machine gunner. 21º disparo derribó team leader. Los remaining 8 insurgents dispersed toward inadequate cover, exactly como Sofía había anticipated. 22º, 23º y 24º disparos continued systematic elimination. Pero while eliminando 5th insurgent in that group, Sofía escuchó something que changed everything. Familiar sound the U.S. military helicopter approaching desde distance. ¿Rescue helicopter? Se preguntó, usando binoculars para identify aircraft. Era exactamente eso. UH-60 Black Hawk con U.S. Army markings, flying directly toward her general area. Sofía immediately switched her radio to emergency frequency y transmitted, "This is Corporal Ramirez, stranded U.S. soldier requesting immediate extraction. Under heavy enemy fire, approximately 75 insurgents, coordinates. La response fue immediate. Ramirez, this is Rescue 1. We copy your position. ET 3 minutes. Prepare for hot extraction. 3 minutes. Había survived 2 hours de intense combat, pero próximos 3 minutes determinarían if survival efforts habían sido successful o if rescue team estaría arriving too late. El sonido del Black Hawk aproximándose galvanizó tanto a Sofía como a los insurgentes restantes. A través del radio interceptado, escuchó órdenes frenéticas siendo transmitidas entre los teams enemigos. Helicóptero estadounidense aproximándose. Todos los teams converjan en zona de extracción. Preparen RPGs. No puede escapar. Es nuestra única oportunidad de eliminarla. Sofía realizó assessment táctico rápido de su situación. Aproximadamente 60 insurgentes restantes converging en su posición. Helicóptero de rescate con ETA de 90 segundos. Ella tenía 14 balas precision remaining y estaba positioned aproximadamente 800 metros from ideal extraction point. Las mathematics eran claras. No podía eliminarte todos los insurgents restantes, pero podía crear corredor suficiente para que Rescue Helicopter pudiera approach safely y complete extraction. Superiority shifted desde survival personal hacia enabling successful rescue operation. Desde elevated position detrás de concrete barrier, identified los threats más críticos para incoming rescue helicopter. 3 insurgents habían positioned RPG launchers en positions que podrían easily destroy approaching aircraft. 25º disparo eliminated primer RPG gunner. 26º disparo derribó segundo anti-aircraft threat. El tercer RPG gunner había positioned himself detrás de excellent cover, pero Sofía localizó reflection from his weapon scope. Challenging shot. Approximately 600 meters. Target partially concealed, pero definitely achievable. 27º disparo confirmed third RPG elimination. Los RPGs están destruidos, transmitted frustrated voice a través del radio interceptado. Usen ametralladoras. Concentration fire in helicopter. But removing anti-aircraft threats, había provided rescue helicopter with opening necesario para approach. Sofía could see Black Hawk banking toward her position, flying fast y low para minimize exposure to ground fire. Ramirez, this is Rescue 1, crepitó a través de her military radio. We see your position. Heavy enemy fire. Necesitamos suppression. Can you provide covering fire durante approach? Affirmative, Rescue 1. I can suppress northern y eastern approaches. Sofía identified 2 groups de insurgents totaling approximately 20 combatants que estaban advancing toward extraction zone from north y east. Eliminating todos ellos era imposible con remaining ammunition. pero disrupting their advance era achievable. Concentrated burst de precision fire. 28º, 29º, 30º. 31st disparos targeted team leaders y key combatants in both advancing groups. El effect era exactly lo que needed. Both insurgent groups stopped advancing y took defensive positions, providing rescue helicopter with suppression sufficient for a safe approach. Good work, Ramirez. Landing in 30 seconds. But durante esos final 30 seconds, something unexpected occurred. Un grupo de insurgents había flanqueado her position y estaban approaching desde southwest, direction she hadn't been monitoring carefully. 6 insurgents, approximately 200 metros away, advancing rapidly with automatic weapons ready. Sofía había 7 bullets remaining. 6 targets, plus potential additional threats que might emerge durante extraction. No margin para error. 32º disparo. Eliminated leader del flanking group. 33º y 34º disparos. Derribaron 2 insurgents que habían separated from main group. Los remaining 3 insurgents continued advancing, ahora only 100 metros from her position. El Black Hawk touched down aproximadamente 50 metros from Sofía's position, rotors creating dust cloud que provided additional concealment, pero también made precision shooting más difficult. Ramirez, move to extraction point now. Sofía began limping rapidly toward helicopter, usando her final 3 bullets para suppress remaining threats durante movement to aircraft. 35º disparo forced 1 insurgent into cover. 36º disparo eliminated insurgent que había achieved close range. 37º, her final bullet, provided suppression durante her final approach to rescue helicopter. I'm out of ammo, she shouted to rescue crew mientras climbed aboard aircraft. Don't worry about it, responded crew chief, helping her into passenger compartment. You've done enough damage for one day. Como helicopter lifted off. Sofía looked down at battlefield where Había spent last 2 hours. Smoke columns rose from multiple locations, evidence to sustained combat que Había required everything she learned durante military training. How many? Preguntó pilot a traverso intercom. Sofía did quick mental calculation. 37 confirmed eliminations. Crew compartment cayó silent. Even experienced military personnel recognized que 37 confirmed kills per single soldier, while wounded isolated in hostile territory, represented combat performance que exceeded normal expectations. Outstanding work, Corporal, transmitted pilot. Command será muy interested in your debrief. Mientras Black Hawk flew towards safety to friendly territory, Sofía finally allowed herself to relax. Había survived impossible situation a través de combination de superior training, tactical innovation, y perhaps más importantly, determination inherited from generations de Mexican fighters que nunca accepted defeat. Una semana después del rescue, Sofía se encontraba en una sala de conferencias estéril en la base principal, facing un panel de oficiales superiores que habían venido específicamente para debrief her extraordinary combat performance. Su pierna herida estaba curada sufficiently para permitir movement normal, pero las memorias de esas 2 horas in hostile territory permanecían crystal clear. Corporal Ramírez, comenzó el Colonel Davidson, reviewing a thick file que apparently contained every detail de her combat actions. En mis 20 años de servicio, nunca he visto combat report como este. Los otros oficiales en la sala, representing Army Intelligence, Special Operations Command, y Advanced Tactical Training, nodded in agreement. Their expressions mixed professional curiosity con genuine amazement. 37 eliminations confirmadas, including uno helicóptero derribado con single precision shot, accomplished por single wounded soldier operating behind enemy lines con limited ammunition. Continued Davidson. ¿Puede explicar cómo logró estos resultados? Sofía had prepared para esta cuestión durante Recovery Week. Colonel, mi performance fue resultado de múltiples factors. Superior training recibido en Fort Bragg, tactical knowledge desarrollado through extensive combat experience, y mental preparation que comienza en childhood. Elabore en mental preparation, interrupted Major Harrison from Special Operations. Sofía straightened in her chair. Mi abuelo era veteran de Mexican Revolution. Desde muy joven, me enseñó que combat verdadero no es solo about superior firepower. It's about superior thinking. How to read terrain, anticipate enemy movement, conserve resources, maintain calm under extreme pressure. ¿Y combined eso con formal military training? Asked intelligence officer. Exactamente. Mi background cultural provided foundation to tactical thinking, pero U.S. Army training gave me technical skills y advanced weapons proficiency para apply esos concepts effectively in modern combat. Colonel Davidson leaned forward. Durante combat, in algún moment doubted que could survive situation? Sofía considered question carefully. Colonel, doubting survival wastes mental energy. Q needs to be focused in tactical solutions. Instead, do wondering if I could survive. Concentrated in how I would survive. Interesting distinction, observed Major Harrison. Can you elaborate? When you accept que survival is non-negotiable, your brain automatically begins identifying resources, opportunities, tactical advantages que might otherwise be overlooked. Fear de death interferes con clear tactical thinking. Los oficiales exchanged glances. Era clear que her answers were providing insights que went beyond standard combat debriefs. Corporal, he most reviewed your training records extensively, said Davidson. Your marksmanship scores were consistently excellent, pero not extraordinarily superior. What accounted para precision level you demonstrated under combat stress? Practice bajo pressure, Colonel. Growing up in Mexico, hunting meant food para la familia. Missing shots meant going hungry. Esa pressure developed consistency que no amount de range practice can replicate. Why helicopter shot? ¿Habías trained specifically para anti-aircraft targeting? Sofía smiled slightly. Advanced training covered anti-aircraft principles, pero never practiced in moving target. However, childhood experience hunting birds taught me how to lead moving targets. I calculate trajectory compensation. Major Harrison made notes rapidly. Corporal based en esta experience. What recommendations would you make para training future soldiers in similar situations? Era question Sofía había anticipated. Tres recommendations. First, expand cultural diversity in special operations units. Different backgrounds provide different tactical perspectives which can be critical in diverse combat environments. Second, integrate pressure-based training that simulates real combat stress. No just technical proficiency. Third, emphasize adaptive thinking over rigid procedure following. Explain adaptive thinking? Asked intelligence officer. Standard military procedures work in standard situations. Pero survival situations require soldiers can improvise, innovate, y apply principles in ways que weren't specifically taught. Rigid adherence to procedures can be fatal cuando circumstances exceed normal parameters. Colonel Davidson closed his file. Corporal Ramirez, your performance has generated significant interest in Advanced Tactical Training Command. They want to offer you position as instructor, specifically developing survival AWE combat effectiveness training para special operations candidates. Era offer que Sofía hadn't expected. Teaching position? Training future special operators how to think why perform like you performed durante esta mission. Your experience demonstrated capabilities que go beyond standard training programs. Sofía considered implications. Teaching would mean sharing knowledge que había developed through combination de cultural heritage y military experience, potentially impacting hundreds of future soldiers. ¿Cuándo necesitan answer, Colonel? 2 weeks. Pero Corporal, this position would involve promotion to sergeant y eventual specialization in advanced tactical instruction. Es significant opportunity. Después de que officers dismissed her, Sofía walked outside contemplating decision. Her extraordinary combat performance había opened door que most soldiers never encountered. But most importantly, había demonstrated que diverse backgrounds y non-traditional thinking could provide tactical advantages in modern warfare. Her grandfather's lessons about Mexican fighting spirit, combined con U.S. military training, había created combination que saved her life y potentially changed military thinking about combat effectiveness. Decisión about teaching position would determine if esas insights would benefit broader military community or remain personal knowledge. Durante las siguientes 2 semanas, mientras Sofía consideraba la oferta de teaching position, recibió visits from múltiples military personnel quien querían hear first-hand accounts de her combat experience. Word had spread throughout Special Operations community about remarkable survival performance. We soldiers de various units sought advice on advanced combat techniques. Sergeant Ramirez approached young soldier después de one informal briefing. Can you explain how you maintained accuracy mientras moving between positions with wounded leg? Era question que several soldiers habían asked, y Sofía había developed comprehensive response. Pain management is mental discipline. Acknowledge pain existence, pero don't allow it to control decision-making or muscle coordination. Focus remains in tactical objectives, no physical discomfort. Pero ¿cómo actually do that? Persisted soldier. Practice shooting bajo uncomfortable conditions. Hot weather, cold weather, mientras tired, whilst carrying heavy load. Build mental habit de maintaining precision despite physical stress. Durante estos informal teaching sessions, Sofía comenzó to realize que her knowledge was valuable beyond her individual experience. Young soldiers were applying her techniques in their own training, why results were measurably positive. Major Harrison approached después de one particularmente effective training session. Ramirez, I've been observing your informal instruction. These soldiers' son-absorbing concepts que standard training programs haven't effectively communicated. Thank you, Major. I have update on teaching position offer. Command high expanded proposal. Instead did just instructor position, they want you to help develop completely new training program. Advanced individual combat effectiveness. You'd have authority to design curriculum based in your experience, why insights. Era significantly larger responsibility than original offer. What would this involve specifically? Developing training methods que prepare special operators para extreme individual survival situations. Your combat experience demonstrated capabilities que current training doesn't adequately address. Command wants to systematize those techniques. Sofía realized que accepting esa position could impact entire generation de special operations soldiers. Her grandfather's tactical wisdom, combined con modern military technology y training, could provide foundation para a program que might save many lives. Major, I accept position. Excellent. Pero first, need to complete comprehensive analysis de your combat actions. Intelligence Command wants complete breakdown de every tactical decision you made during those 2 hours. Durante following weeks, Sofía worked con military analysts to dissect each phase de her combat performance. Every shot placement, movement decision, tactical assessment was analyzed to identify patterns while principles que could be taught. El resulting report became foundation para a new training program que would incorporate cultural diversity, adaptive thinking, why individual combat effectiveness as core components. 6 months later, Sergeant Sofía Ramírez stood in front to her first class de special operations candidates and newly constructed advanced individual combat training facility. Military training traditionally emphasizes unit cohesion y coordinated operations. Comenzó her lecture. Pero combat reality sometimes requires individual soldiers to survive y perform independently bajo impossible circumstances. Los 30 soldiers in her class represented diverse backgrounds. Special Forces, Rangers, Navy SEALs, Marine Recon. All were experienced combatants, pero none había faced situation comparable to what Sofía survived. Durante próximas 8 weeks, van a learn techniques que combine traditional military training con adaptive tactical thinking. You'll practice shooting bajo extreme stress, movement under fire, resource conservation, y mental preparation para survival situations donde standard procedures may not apply. One Navy SEAL raised his hand. Sergeant, what makes your approach different from survival training you received? Sofía smiled. My approach integrates cultural perspectives y non-traditional tactical thinking con advanced military techniques. You'll learn to think like guerrilla fighters mientras maintaining precision y discipline de special operations professionals. Can you provide example? Standard training teaches suppression fire para cover movement. My training teaches precision elimination para create movement opportunities whilst conserving ammunition. Different mindset, different results. Durante ensuing weeks, Sofia's students experienced training that pushed them beyond standard parameters. They learned to maintain accuracy under extreme physical stress, adapt to rapidly changing tactical situations, think creatively about resource utilization. Loss results exceeded expectations. Students demonstrated improved individual combat effectiveness, better decision-making under pressure, enhanced ability to adapt tactics to unexpected circumstances. By end of program, Sofia's teaching methods had attracted attention from highest levels to military command. Her integration to cultural diversity, con advanced tactical training was producing special operators, con capabilities that exceeded traditional training outcomes. Sergeant Ramirez, Colonel Davidson approached después de graduation ceremony. Your program results have been exceptional. Command wants to expand programa nationwide. I establish you as Director de Advanced Individual Combat Training. Era opportunity que would establish her as leading authority in special operations training, ensuring que lessons learned durante her survival experience would benefit countless future soldiers. Colonel, I accept. Como she looked out at her graduating students, Sofia realized que her experience being abandoned in hostile territory había led to career purpose que she never could have anticipated. Her grandfather's wisdom, tested in extreme combat, refined through formal military expertise, was now foundation para a training program que would prepare next generation to special operations warriors. From nearly fatal abandonment to director to revolutionary training program, her journey demonstrated que extraordinary challenges could become foundations para extraordinary contributions. One Turin. 2 años después de establecer el Programa Nacional Advanced Individual Combat Training, Sergeant Major Sofía Ramírez se encontraba en una posición que nunca había imaginado posible cuando first enlisted in Army. Su oficina en Pentagon oversaw training programs in 12 different military installations, y her methods were siendo adoptados por allied nations worldwide. Sergeant Major, entró su asistente durante typical busy morning, tiene meeting con Joint Chiefs regarding expansion proposal. El expansion proposal era ambitious. Establishing International Advanced Combat Training Center, que would teach Sofia's methods to special operations personnel from NATO countries y key strategic allies. Her combat-proven techniques habían demonstrated effectiveness que transcended cultural boundaries. In conference room filled con highest-ranking military officers, Sofia presented data que spoke for itself. Soldiers trained using her methods showed 40% improvement in individual combat survival rates, 35% better accuracy under stress, significantly enhanced adaptive tactical thinking. Sergeant Major Ramirez addressed Chairman of Joint Chiefs, your training innovations have exceeded every performance metric. International allies are requesting access to these techniques. Are you prepared to lead global implementation? Yes, sir. My experience demonstrated that tactical excellence comes from combining diverse perspectives con rigorous training. Sharing these methods internationally will strengthen Allied combat effectiveness whilst maintaining U.S. leadership in special operations. General Morrison nodded approvingly. Your program has transformed how we think about individual combat preparation, from single combat survivor to architect de new international training standards. Remarkable progression. Thank you, General. Pero success belongs to soldiers who can embrace these concepts and apply them effectively in field. Durante ensuing months, Sofia traveled extensively, establishing training centers in UK, Germany, Australia, and Canada. Each location adapted her core principles to local military cultures, whilst maintaining essential effectiveness standards. In Quedó, stop, she was greeted by military personnel eager to learn techniques that had generated such impressive results. Her story, abandoned soldier becoming international training authority, had become legendary within special operations community. Durante one memorable training session in British SAS facility, experienced operative approached después de particularly challenging exercise. Ma'am, that tactical thinking approach fundamentally changed how I assess combat situations, said veteran SAS soldier con 20 years experience. Never considered cultural perspective as tactical advantage before. Cultural understanding isn't political correctness, responded Sofia. as tactical intelligence. Understanding how different populations think, move, react. ESO gives you predictive advantage in combat. Can you elaborate? Sophia gestured toward training area where mixed Group D international special operations personnel were practicing her techniques. Observe those soldiers. American tends toward direct assault approach. German focuses on systematic preparation. British emphasizes adaptability. Each approach has strengths key others can learn. And Mexican approach? Sophia smiled. Mexican tactical thinking emphasizes patience, resource conservation, while using apparent weakness as actual strength. When my team abandoned me, they saw wounded liability. I saw opportunity para eliminate threats without backup coordination complications. During final week to UK training program, Sophia received call he would change her career trajectory once again. General Davidson was calling days de Pentagon con proposal he exceeded even her expanded international responsibilities. Sergeant Major, your international program results have been extraordinary. NATO Command wants to offer you position as Director de International Special Operations Training Coordination. Era position que would place her in charge de Special Operations Training Standards para entire NATO alliance. Responsibility que no woman, certainly no Mexican-American woman, had ever held. What would this position involve specifically? Coordinating special operations training entre all NATO members. Establishing unified standards based in your methods. By leading development to next-generation combat training techniques. Essentially, you'd become highest-ranking Special Operations Training Authority in Western Alliance. Sophia considered implications. Era opportunity para impact military effectiveness in global scale, ensuring que lessons learned durante her survival experience would benefit thousands to Special Operations soldiers across multiple nations. General, does this position require relocation? Yes. NATO headquarters in Brussels. Pero position comes con resources to establish satellite training facilities worldwide. You'd have authority to implement your methods across entire alliance structure. Timeline for decision? 2 weeks. Pero Sergeant Major, this represents pinnacle de military training career. No other individual has opportunity para influence special operations training in this scale. After call ended, Sophia reflected an incredible journey desde being abandoned soldado para potential leader de international military training standards. Her grandfather's lessons about Mexican tactical wisdom, tested under extreme combat conditions, refined through formal military expertise, had evolved into foundation para-revolutionary approach, que was transforming special operations training worldwide. Decision about NATO position would determine whether her influence remained regional innovation or became cornerstone to international military effectiveness para next generation de special operations warriors. From desperate survival in hostile territory para architect de global training transformation, her story demonstrated que extraordinary challenges could become foundations para extraordinary impact cuando combined con determination, expertise, y willingness para share knowledge con others. Nancy Reed. La decisión sobre la posición NATO pesaba enormemente sobre Sofía mientras revisaba los implications de accepting such unprecedented responsibility. Durante las siguientes 2 semanas, consultó con mentors, family members, y trusted colleagues who had witnessed her evolution desde combat survivor, hasta international training innovator. Mija, le dijo su padre durante video call desde San Diego. When you first enlisted, tu abuelo said que your destiny era más grande than individual service. He saw something in ti que others missed. What did he see? Leader quien could bridge different worlds. Mexican tactical wisdom y American military power. Now you have opportunity para share esa combination con entire Western Alliance. Sophia considered her grandfather's influence and her tactical development. His lessons about patience, resource conservation, why adaptive thinking under pressure, habían been foundation para her survival experience y subsequent training innovations. But am I ready para responsibility to this magnitude? She asked honestly. Her father smiled through video connection. Sophia, you survived impossible combat situation, developed training methods could transformed special operations effectiveness, why successfully implemented programs across multiple nations. What more preparation could you need? Durante same period, Sofia received visit desde Colonel Martinez. Quine had become close advisor during her program development years. Sergeant Major, I've been observing reactions desde international military community regarding your potential NATO appointment, Martinez began. Response has been overwhelmingly positive. Any resistance? Some traditional elements question whether revolutionary approaches should be implemented alliance-wide. Pero combat results speak louder than institutional preferences. Martinez showed her comprehensive analysis to training outcomes, desde programs she had established. Students trained using her methods demonstrated superior performance in every measurable category. Survival rates, mission success percentages, adaptability under stress, individual combat effectiveness. These numbers represent lives saved while missions accomplished, Martinez emphasized. Your techniques aren't just innovative, they're operationally superior. What about resistance toward Mexican-American women leading alliance training standards? Martinez addressed her concern directly. Initial skepticism exists, pero performance credibility overcomes demographic prejudices. Military professionals ultimately care about effectiveness, no identity politics. 1 week before decision deadline, Sofia received unexpected visit desde General Thompson. Quine had been observing her programs desde their inception. Sergeant Major, may I share perspective that might influence your decision? Of course, General. Your survival experience demonstrated individual capabilities that challenged conventional military thinking. Your training programs proved that non-traditional approaches could enhance conventional military effectiveness. Do you understand larger implications? Sofia considered his question. You mean beyond immediate training benefits? Exactly. Your work represents paradigm shift in how military organizations think about diversity, innovation, why tactical excellence. Accepting NATO position would establish precedent key excellence transcends traditional categories. General Thompson continued, future generations to soldiers, regardless to background, would benefit desde knowing que competency innovation determine advancement, no demographic characteristics. That's significant responsibility beyond training duties? Yes. Pero also opportunity para demonstrate que American military values, merit-based advancement, innovation, excellence, can influence international military development positively. Durante final days de decision period, Sofia received messages desde soldiers whom she had trained across multiple countries. Uniformly, they expressed gratitude para techniques que had enhanced their combat effectiveness y encouraged her para accept NATO position. British SAS operative wrote, Your methods saved my life durante recent operation. Please continue developing these techniques para broader military community. German Special Forces soldier messaged, Training I received bajo your program fundamentally improved my tactical thinking. NATO would benefit enormously desde your leadership. Canadian Special Operations member commented, Your combination de cultural perspective I tactical expertise provides advantages key traditional training never addressed. On decision day, Sofia called General Davidson para provide her answer. General, I accept NATO position. Outstanding. Any specific concerns regarding transition? Only one request. I want authority para maintain direct connection con soldiers in field. Leadership effectiveness requires understanding current combat realities, no just administrative oversight. Granted. When can you begin transition? Immediately. 3 months later, Sergeant Major Sofia Ramírez arrived in Brussels para assume duties as Director de International Special Operations Training Coordination. First woman y first Mexican-American para hold position to such influence within NATO alliance structure. Her first official act era establishing direct communication channels con special operations units across all member nations, ensuring que training innovations remained connected para actual combat experiences rather than becoming isolated administrative processes. From abandoned soldier fighting para survival, Hasta architect de international military training standards, her journey demonstrated key extraordinary individual experiences, cuando properly analyzed y systematically applied, could transform organizational effectiveness in ways that benefited thousands to future warriors. Hace pausa para malanar. 6 meses después de asumir su posición en NATO Headquarters, Sofía había establecido revolutionary changes que estaban transformando Special Operations Training across toda la alianza. Su oficina en Brussels había become Coordination Center para Training Innovations que were being implemented desde Arctic Operations in Norway hasta Desert Training in southern Spain. Director Ramírez entered her Chief of Staff, Major Williams. Durante morning briefing session, we have requests desde 15 additional countries para implementation de su advanced training methods. Las requests venían no solo desde NATO members, sino también desde strategic partners, quien habían observed remarkable improvements in Allied Special Operations capabilities. Countries like Japan, South Korea, y Australia were seeking access para techniques que habían demonstrated such significant operational advantages. What specific aspects are they most interested in? Asked Sofía, reviewing performance data desde current programs. Primarily adaptive tactical thinking y individual survival techniques. Combat reports indicate soldiers trained using your methods show superior performance in asymmetric warfare situations. Sofía studied reports desde recent operations donde her training methods had been tested in actual combat. Results were consistently impressive. Higher mission success rates, fewer casualties, better adaptation para unexpected tactical situations. Schedule meetings con requesting nations. Will evaluate each request based on strategic value y implementation feasibility. Durante afternoon, Sofía received video call desde Pentagon. General Davidson appeared on screen con expression que indicated significant developments. Director Ramírez, I have news que will interest you. Combat effectiveness studies desde your NATO programs han attracted attention desde highest levels de U.S. government. What kind de attention? Secretary of Defense wants para establish new position. Assistant Secretary for Advanced Military Training Innovation. Position would oversee development to next-generation training methods across all U.S. military branches. Era offer que represented pinnacle de military training career. Civilian leadership position que would influence entire U.S. military training establishment. General, that would require leaving NATO position. Not necessarily. Position could be structured para maintain NATO coordination whilst expanding influence para include U.S. military modernization initiatives. Sofía considered implications. Era opportunity para impact not just special operations, pero entire U.S. military training philosophy, potentially affecting hundreds to thousands to service members. Timeline para consideration? Secretary wants meeting next week. Pero Director, this represents opportunity para transform U.S. military training in ways que would influence global military development durante next generation. After call ended, Sofía walked around Brussels, contemplating decision que would determine direction to her remaining military career. Her journey desde abandoned soldier para NATO director had been extraordinary, pero opportunity para influence entire U.S. military training establishment represented possibilities que exceeded even her expanded current responsibilities. That evening, recibió call desde unexpected source. Her former team leader, Sergeant Davies, quien had made decision para abandon her in hostile territory años before. Director Ramírez, comenzó Davies, clearly uncomfortable. I know this call is unusual. What can I do para you, Davies? I wanted para apologize, formally, for decision I made durante that mission años ago. Sofía had not expected this conversation. Davies, you made tactical decision based on information available in that moment. No, ma'am. I made cowardly decision based on prejudice. I didn't believe Mexican woman could survive alone in hostile territory. I was wrong about everything. Why are you calling now? Because your achievements have made clear how wrong my assumptions were. You've become leader que nunca imagined possible. Your influence in military training has saved lives que might have been lost debido para inadequate preparation. Davies continued, I wanted you para know que your example has changed how I think about leadership, diversity, why military excellence. You've proven que competence has no demographic limitations. Thank you para saying that, Davies. It means more than you might realize. Director, whatever opportunity you're considering next, accept it. Military needs leaders quien can transcend traditional limitations by create innovations que benefit everyone. After conversation ended, Sophia realized que acceptance desde former skeptics represented validation que her contributions had indeed transformed military thinking about diversity-wide excellence. Her grandfather's tactical wisdom, tested bajo extreme combat conditions y refined through systematic training development, had evolved into foundation paramilitary innovations que were influencing international military effectiveness. Decision about assistant secretary position would determine whether her influence remained focused in special operations or expanded para transform entire U.S. military training establishment. From desperate survival in hostile territory para potential leadership de U.S. military training modernization, her story continued para demonstrate que extraordinary challenges, cuando met con determination y expertise, could become foundations para transformational impact que benefited countless others. Next week's meeting con Secretary of Defense would determine final chapter the remarkable career evolution que had exceeded every possible expectation. La reunión con el Secretary of Defense tuvo lugar en Pentagon, en una sala de conferencias que había sido testigo de decisiones que habían shaped military policy durante décadas. Sophia entró wearing her dress uniform, fully aware que this meeting podría determine not just her career trajectory, pero potentially influence training development para entire U.S. military establishment. Director Ramírez, greeted Secretary Williams, accompanied por Joint Chiefs y senior Pentagon officials. Your NATO achievements han been extraordinary. Training effectiveness improvements you've implemented han exceeded every projection. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We want para discuss position que would expand your influence significantly. Assistant Secretary para Advanced Military Training Innovation. This would give you authority sobre training development across all military branches. Secretary Williams outlined scope de proposed position, oversight the Army, Navy, Air Force, Y Marine training programs, authority para implement innovative methods, Y responsibility para modernizing military training para address emerging threats. Your NATO experience demonstrated que non-traditional approaches can enhance military effectiveness dramatically. We want para apply similar innovations para U.S. military training comprehensively. General Morrison added context. Director, this position would place you among highest-ranking military training officials in U.S. government. Your influence would extend far beyond special operations para affect hundreds de thousands de service members. What specific changes would you expect me para implement? Secretary Williams consulted briefing documents. Integration de adaptive tactical thinking across all training programs, emphasis in individual combat effectiveness. Y incorporation de cultural competency como tactical advantage rather than administrative requirement. Essentially, added General Thompson, transforming U.S. military training philosophy para reflect innovations you've developed through actual combat experience y international implementation. Sophia considered magnitude de responsibility being offered. Era opportunity para impact military effectiveness and scale que could influence national security capabilities durante next generation. Mr. Secretary, I'm honored por consideration, pero I have concerns about leaving NATO position during critical expansion phase. We've addressed that concern. Position would include NATO coordination responsibilities, allowing you para maintain international programs whilst expanding domestic influence. Durante following hour, officials outlined structure que would enable Sophia para maintain NATO leadership whilst assuming U.S. training modernization responsibilities. Era complex arrangement, pero one que would maximize her influence in both international and domestic military development. Director, we need someone quien has demonstrated ability para transform military thinking whilst maintaining operational effectiveness. Your background combines combat experience, training innovation, Y international coordination in ways could no other candidate possesses. General Morrison emphasized strategic importance. Your appointment would demonstrate U.S. commitment para military modernization based in proven effectiveness rather than traditional approaches. Timeline para implementation? 6 months para transition? Full authority within 1 year. Position comes con resources para establish comprehensive training modernization initiative affecting all military branches. Secretary Williams concluded meeting con perspective que resonated deeply con Sofía. Director, your journey desde combat survivor para international training leader represents exactly kind de military evolution we need para address 21st century challenges. Your expertise could transform how America prepares warriors para complex modern threats. After meeting, Sofía walked through Pentagon corridors donde portraits de military leaders desde previous generations lined walls. She realized que accepting assistant secretary position would place her among historical figures quien had shaped American military development. That evening, llamó para her father para discuss decision. Papa, they're offering me position que would influence entire U.S. military training establishment. ¿Y qué dice tu corazón? Says que this is opportunity para ensure que lessons learned durante survival experience benefit greatest number the soldiers possible. Entonces ya sabes tu respuesta. Una semana later, Sofía submitted her acceptance para assistant secretary position, simultaneously negotiating arrangement que would maintain her NATO coordination responsibilities. Durante transition ceremony, General Davidson offered perspective que captured significance to her appointment. From abandoned soldier para assistant secretary, your career demonstrates que extraordinary circumstances, cuando met con exceptional competence, can create transformational leadership opportunities. Secretary Williams added durante announcement. Director Ramirez's appointment represents commitment para military excellence based in proven performance rather than traditional limitations. Her innovations will influence American military effectiveness para decades para come. Como she prepared para assume new responsibilities, Sofía reflected an incredible journey que had exceeded every possible expectation. Her grandfather's tactical wisdom, tested bajo extreme combat conditions y refined through international military training development, was about para become foundation para comprehensive transformation de U.S. military training establishment. From desperate survival in hostile territory para highest levels de military training leadership, her story demonstrated key determination, expertise, why willingness para innovate could overcome any limitation y create impact que benefited countless others. Assistant Secretary Sofía Ramírez was ready para begin final chapter de remarkable career evolution que would influence American military training para next generation de warriors. Un año después de asumir sus responsabilidades como Assistant Secretary para Advanced Military Training Innovation, Sofía había implemented changes que were transforming U.S. military training in ways que exceeded even optimistic projections. Su comprehensive modernization initiative was affecting over 400,000 service members across all branches, con measurable improvements in combat effectiveness, survival rates, y tactical adaptability. Assistant Secretary entered her Chief of Staff durante morning briefing in Pentagon office. We have final reports desde first-year implementation across all branches. Los números were extraordinary. 45% improvement in individual combat survival rates, 38% better performance under stress situations, y 52% enhanced adaptability durante asymmetric warfare scenarios. Most significantly, soldier confidence levels had increased dramatically, con corresponding improvements in mission success rates. Feedback desde field commanders? Overwhelmingly positive. Commanders report que soldiers trained using your methods show superior decision-making bajo pressure y better ability para adapt tactical approaches para unexpected situations. Durante afternoon, Sofía received video call desde General Martinez, quien was now commanding Special Operations Training Center que had been established using her original methods. Assistant Secretary, I wanted para provide update desde original program where everything started. How are things progressing? Beyond expectations. We're now training not just U.S. Special Operations, pero also providing instruction para over 30 allied nations. Your survival experience has become foundation para international military training cooperation. General Martinez continued. More importantly, cultural integration aspects to your training hand transformed how military thinks about diversity. We're recruiting from broader population base while seeing performance improvements key validate your original insights. Any resistance does the traditional military establishment? Initial skepticism has been replaced por widespread acceptance based on results. Performance improvements are too significant para ignore, regardless de source. That evening, Sofia received call he would provide perfect conclusion para her extraordinary career journey. President Carter was calling personally para discuss opportunity que represented pinnacle de military service recognition. Assistant Secretary Ramirez, your contributions para military training innovation had been brought para my attention repeatedly, days de Joint Chiefs, NATO leadership, y international allies. Thank you, Mr. President. I want para offer you position que would culminate remarkable career. Senior Advisor para International Military Cooperation. Position would involve coordinating military training initiatives globally whilst representing U.S. interests in highest-level international military discussions. Era Position K would place her among most influential military advisors and world. Con authority para shape international military cooperation para decades para come. Mr. President, that represents extraordinary honor. Your journey desde combat survivor para international military training leader demonstrates exactly kind of leadership America needs para address global security challenges. Your expertise could influence international military cooperation in ways que strengthen democratic alliances worldwide. President continued. Position would involve working directly con heads de state, defense ministers, y military leaders globally. Your experience spanning individual combat, training innovation, y international coordination makes you uniquely qualified. Como Sofia considered offer, she reflected an incredible evolution desde being abandoned soldier fighting para survival, hasta being offered position among highest levels de international military leadership. Mr. President, I accept position. Outstanding. Transition will begin immediately. Con formal appointment ceremony in 3 months. Durante following weeks, military media covered her appointment extensively, highlighting unprecedented career progression desde combat survivor para international military advisor. Her story had become inspiration para service members globally, demonstrating que exceptional performance could overcome any traditional limitation. In ceremony marking her transition para senior advisor position, President Carter offered remarks que captured significance to her achievements. Assistant Secretary Ramirez's career represents best the American military values, excellence based on merit, innovation driven por experience, a leadership que transcends traditional boundaries. Her influence will benefit international military cooperation para generations para come. General Davidson, quien had supported her throughout career evolution, added perspective durante ceremony. From abandoned soldier para presidential advisor, remarkable journey que demonstrates que extraordinary circumstances, cuando met con exceptional competence y determination, can create transformational leadership opportunities que benefit countless others. Como ceremony concluded, Sofia looked toward future knowing que her grandfather's tactical wisdom, tested bajo extreme combat conditions y refined through decades de military service, had become foundation para international military cooperation initiatives que would influence global security para years para come. Her survival experience in hostile territory had evolved into expertise que now shaped military training y international cooperation in ways que she never could have imagined when her team first abandoned her durante that mission años before. From desperate individual survival para architect de international military cooperation, her complete journey demonstrated que no challenge is insurmountable cuando met con determination, expertise, y commitment para using personal experience para benefit others in service to larger causes. Senior Advisor Sofia Ramírez was ready para final chapter the extraordinary career, que had transformed not just her own life, pero military training y international cooperation in ways que would influence global security para decades para come.